Hello, good evening, everyone. How are we all doing today? Welcome to the 8th Building Bridges webinar series. This is especially unique because I think for the previous webinars we've been having, there has been more of information sessions where we have come to teach. And yes, we took a lot of questions and answers within those sessions. But this is different because we thought of why don't we collate questions? We ask you what are the questions you have and have conversations about those questions and how we can provide relevant answers to you. And that brought about this question and answer session. And here with me this evening is Mrs. Angela Tonda, who is the Managing Director for the Esangbedo Humanitarian Foundation. She's one of our panelists for this evening. And joining us shortly will be Mrs. Insikan Essien from the NCFRMI. That will be joining us also. So, Angela, could you say something to our audience?
Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I've always been in the background at previous meetings. Well, I'm happy to be here today to be one of the voices you will hear. And I'm really looking forward to a positive meeting and conversation. Looking forward to your questions. And I hope we can provide answers to your very valid questions, because any question on migration is very valid. We have so much risk with people trying to migrate right now. And so we're happy to be one of those bodies you can reach out to give you the right information for your safety, a safety of not just your funds, but for your life also. So we're here to answer those questions you will have for us today. Looking forward to a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're excited to have you on board with us, especially with your wealth of experience in this field, looking at the various challenges that we have been experiencing, especially here in Nigeria. So before we go to the main discussion of the day, I would like us to, in the comment section on YouTube, I would like you to just drop your name and where you are connecting from. It will be interesting for us to know where you are joining us from. And also in the process of us having this panel conversation, and you have further questions, I would ask that you can equally drop your questions on the comment section, and as we are discussing, we'll be picking your questions one after the other, and we'll be attending to each and every one of them as long as time permits. So that being said, please just drop your name, where you are connecting from, and also if this is your first time joining the webinar, we would also like to know that. And one of the important things of knowing this is that different areas, different countries, different regions have different migration expectations. And so depending on the areas that our viewership is coming from, we enable us to tailor specific contents to that particular area, to that particular need. And that will also help us to address your concerns going forward. So we'll just take the next few minutes to accommodate your responses, and we'll be looking forward to that. From previous webinars, we had a lot of people coming from Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, the Benin City. We even had from Europe. It's been amazing. It's really been amazing. Now, the interesting thing is, I think we've done 7 webinars, right? And each of those webinars covered different sections to different needs. It's also been interesting to know how each of those webinars have actually impacted you, impacted your decision making. And it had a lot of touch points, from those that are looking for educational migration, those that are looking for family reunification, those that are looking for work, skilled visa and all, including the global talents. We've covered a lot. And I will implore that even after this webinar, you can go to our playlists and you can take your time, watch them. They are very, very informative. We had experts around the globe speaking and touching different touch points as regards migration. So yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So we don't take too much of your time. I will be moving on to our discussion session. And it's more of a discussion session though. Although, yes, we have some questions that some of you sent in. So we'll be addressing as much as we can. And the thing is, from one question can spiral into other questions and other areas of concerns, other touch points. And that will be the highlight of today's event. So that being said, we'll be moving over to the discussion right now. And I would like Miss Angela would just tell us a brief about herself so that we can get to know her better. And then I can start asking some of the questions that we have. So over to you.
Once again, thank you so much, Benjamin. Such a pleasure being here, as I said. Really nice to speak on a topic that has become dear to my heart. It's a space I've had to work in the past about 5 years now, and it's a very interesting space. My background, I was a banker for over 15 years, and then I went into the manufacturing sector for another 10 years. And so that's 25 years work experience in manufacturing and banking. And then I moved into the migration space when I worked at the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. As I said, that was, I think, at the place where my eyes got opened to what is going on in the migration space, not just locally, but also internationally. And so we found out that, Nigerians, of course, the Japa syndrome came during this period when I've been in the migration space with everybody wanting to migrate. But we know migration is a fact of life. So anybody is free to migrate. However, as we've been preaching here at Esang Gbedu Humanitarian Foundation and TISU Consulting, we're saying migration is a right, but migrate the right way. So you don't get into trouble later in life. There are people who go and they feel it's so easy, but years down the line, there are challenges. So from working with the Refugee Commission and understanding what was going on, I was invited on board Esang Gbedu Humanitarian Foundation, where we're doing a lot to make sure we're educating the youth on what is right in migration. And we're not just talking about migration in Esang Gbedu Humanitarian Foundation. We're talking about values, societal values. We're talking about the values we were brought up with that we feel has brought us to where we are today. And so we want the youth to go back to what we were brought up with: integrity, honesty, hard work. Not just thinking, oh, there's money everywhere to touch, and so everybody's looking for the easiest way. We're saying hard work. When we're growing up, we were always told, remember whose child you are. And I think even at my age, at over 50, I still remember when I want to do anything, I ask myself, remember whose child you are. And we're not just talking of your parents, your natural parents. We're also talking of God. You're doing this thing. Your natural parents might not see you, but God can see you. So if you know that there is a video watching you and looking at what you're doing, do you think what you're doing is right? So as a child, when you're out there, either robbing people of their hard-earned savings, or you're lying to scam people, really, you need to think about it. In the near future, if I'm caught, what would be said of my family name? What would be said of me? How would I represent myself? So that's what we're trying to teach with Esang Gbedu Humanitarian Foundation to the youth through our Catch Them Young school program, where we'll go from school to school, trying to teach children the right values, the right way to portray themselves, the advantages of a good education, doors it can open for you, and all that. And so I'm happy to be here to speak on all these issues. And I hope the questions you bring forward are things we can address fully to make sure people go back and say, indeed, we've taken away something from this short 1 hour webinar. Sometimes some of these webinars, we say 1 hour, it's definitely not enough, but we hope we can hit the nail on the head and address the most important things people want to hear about. Thank you, Benjamin.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much. We are so excited to have you on board this evening. So in the course of your talk just now, and you mentioned the Japa syndrome. Yes. I know for most of the people that usually attend are either considering traveling, they are maybe have begun the process, or they want someone who they know, or their siblings or their children, and they want them to travel abroad. And so my thoughts, what are the are there specific countries that you think are much more favorable for Nigerians to migrate to, regardless of the reasons, say for maybe work, for study, so are there countries from your experience that have popped up more often?
Yeah, from my experience, a lot of people immediately gravitate towards the UK, the US, Canada, Germany. Of recent, we're hearing people going to Australia. We're hearing people going to New Zealand. New Zealand, Australia, they're actually very, very far away, but those are countries people are beginning to look into because they actually need people, just as Canada needs people. But I always tell people, traveling to a particular place, it's not because we heard people are going there, it's what actually are you looking for there? There are countries where, just as we said in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they're actually looking for workforce. They're actually looking for people to work because you find that we tend to be highly educated in Africa. In Nigeria, we're highly educated. And so they're looking for qualified people to work in their organizations, to bring new innovations to their place. So you need to ask yourself, what really are you traveling for? If we're talking of education, we know education-wise, you have very good schools in the UK, very good schools in the US, very good schools in Canada. So that is another aspect of it. But if you're looking for really skilled job programs, people will tend to tell you, oh, look towards Australia, New Zealand, Canada, where they're actually looking for people to take on for permanent residency. So if I'm going to these places, the opportunity of getting a permanent residence and becoming a citizen of that country is actually easy for you. It's not the same in America. For example, you go to school in America or the UK, it doesn't mean you automatically transfer into the workforce. You understand? In the Canada, you can actually go there, go to school, and you are able to transfer into the workforce immediately, and you work your way into citizenship. Unfortunately, it's not so easy in the UK. It's not so easy in the US. In fact, it's really difficult in the US. UK, you still have to pay lots of money after you've gone through your very expensive education to get into the workforce. So I would advise that if you really want to migrate, it's not just a factor of, oh, people are going to country A or country B, or here it's easy. You need to look at yourself. What really are you looking for? Are you looking for permanent residency? Then I would advise you look at all those other countries we've spoken about: Canada, New Zealand, Australia. Germany is also very good. Germany is actually very good because Germany, you can actually get into the system, go through the education, and then get into the workforce. But for Germany, you have to, first of all, learn the language, because getting in there, you can actually get free education, and within a couple of years, you are in the system, you are a legal resident, but you have to get into the country already speaking their language. So you need to look at, what really am I going there for? What are the things I want? I have people who have gone to the US through the education route. They finished education, they don't want to come back, but they just cannot get into the system. So you need to first of all find out what is the route to get into cities, because I want to believe anybody who wants to travel right now, Jacpa, is looking at a citizenship route, right? So if you're looking at the citizenship route, I would advise immediately that definitely it's not going to come to you easily through the US or through the UK. So you need to first of all do your investigations and find out which is the right country for what I have in mind for myself. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. So from this brief discussion that you just said now, you've actually gone through a lot of my questions. So I think we can call it a day now. Huh?
Just like that.
Yeah, because you've touched a lot of the questions, you've talked about the country, and you talked about the requirement. Now, there's something you mentioned. You talked about you need to know yourself. What are you going there for? So it's not just waking up and saying you want to travel, but what is your purpose of, what is the key goal you want to achieve from this migration exercise? So this now brings to another question. So there are people who are want to migrate for job, right? They're looking at employment opportunities. And one of the questions that we usually get asked is, what qualifications or skills are currently in demand internationally? We are aware that it varies from country to country. So instead of asking you what are the in-demand skills, well, you can throw some light on that anyway, but are there documents that they can find online that they can look at to know what skills are in demand, like a skills shortage list or something. Can you throw a little light on that?
Yeah, in terms of what skills are in demand, first of all, I always tell people, Nigeria, we believe so absolutely in your university education, what you will call what do we call that now? Formal education. We believe so much in formal education, but you find in so many of these countries, they actually are looking for skilled labor in terms of plumbing, in terms of plumbers, in terms of carpenters. I was speaking to someone just 2 days back while I was in Benin, and the person was saying, oh, for him to call a plumber just to come and check what is wrong in his house, just to bring the guy in, first of all, he's paying $75 just to get the guy in, not even to pay for the work the person is going to come and do, just for him to come and inspect. You're paying $75. Wow. So the truth is, in most of these countries, whether in the US, whether in the UK, whether in Canada, they actually are looking for skilled labor, people who are into plumbing, into carpentry, into electricals, because they really don't have a lot of people who do those things. So you find we have a lot of Nigerians who have actually gone abroad as carpenters, as hairdressers, things as little as hairdressers. Understand that. My son is in the US. The other day, I took him to the barbers just to trim his hair. I paid $40. And I was like, I converted to now, and I was telling myself, oh my God, this is where you need to learn how to barb your hair by yourself, or learn the job so you can barb for your colleagues and your mates and all that. So they're actually looking for skilled labor. In terms of how do you know what they're looking for in different countries? Again, in Canada, for example, if you go on their website, there are places where you see what actually is each province looking for. A lot of these countries have websites, their country websites, where you can go and look for what are the job opportunities that migrants can get there. Yeah. Lots of people are looking for people in the tech industry, because as I said, unfortunately, because education, while we're sending our children abroad and saying they have good education, education is very expensive abroad. So you actually find a lot of the citizens of those countries don't actually go into the education line. They really can't afford it. So you find we have the experience, what they need in the tech sector, in the cybersecurity sector, in the medical fields. We have a lot of that in nursing field. So once you check this country's websites, I guess you are going to get a lot of information on what they're actually looking for. So what skills do you have? We have people who have left Nigeria as bankers and got into the US and gone back to nursing school. You have those who have gone back, US, UK, who have gone back into social work, who have gone back into caregiving, because those are the jobs that are really important and people are looking for there. So you need to ask yourself before you go, what is my experience? What are the qualifications I have here? If my qualification is banking, can I easily get into the nursing or the medical field or the caregiving social work field? So you need to be able to go on their websites and actually look at what they need and then get yourself prepared. You can actually, even from Nigeria, start to get those certifications and qualifications before you go there, so that by the time you get there, it's easy for you to get into the system to do the kind of work that is available there.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. From your response now, I think one of the things we can do is probably we may collate some of these sites where they can get this kind of information and share to our audience. I think it will be a valuable resource for them. So please, I will be disturbing for that so that we can share to our audience.
We can definitely share that later. I have that not at hand, but it's not even if we have at hand, it's not something we can share right now and start discussing. So we'll be very happy to share that on our sites, on our WhatsApp and our YouTube groups, for people to be able to go there and assess and look at what they can do in those countries. We're looking at countries UK, US, Canada, Germany, and the like. New Zealand, Australia, as I said, where they can actually get links to the places they need to look into.
All right, thank you so much. Let's make welcome our managing partner for TISU Consulting. She just stepped into the room. You're welcome, Ma.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And great to be here.
Welcome. So, okay, so still on this section, we are still having a general conversation on the legal migration pathways and opportunities. A question we have here is, are there any government-supported or international partnerships that support legal migration. An example like the Migrant Resource Center. So are they just kind of
Yeah, I was just going to say that
HQ?
when you talk about legal pathways to migration, I'm sure you know no country will want its people to get their brain drained and everybody is leaving. You understand? So yes, the Migrant Resource Center, what those people do for you is just to educate you on the right pathways to migration. So the Migrant Resource Center has where they talk to you about labor migration, just what we just finished discussing. They can tell you, oh, these are the skills that are necessary in such and such countries. These are the kind of job offers you will get, but they will guide you also in labor migration, and then what are the documentation you will require, what do you need to do to get the right job and the right service when you get to those countries. So in Nigeria, definitely the Migrant Resource, that's why it's actually called the Migrants Resource Center. You're supposed to go there and get the right information before you leave. The IOM, International Organization for Migration, also supports in helping people with migration. But what we find they really focus on, unfortunately, is they're looking more at people who have migrated irregularly and how to bring them back home to us. They necessarily will not give you the right information on where to go to or not to go to. So if you really want to have information on migration out of Nigeria, where you can go in terms of skills and all that, then you'll be looking at going to the Migrants Resource Center. That will be the best bet for you, not the IOM. IOM is more involved in bringing back people who have been smuggled out of the country, who have gone without the right guidance in the first place and are now stranded and want to come back home. So you have those kind of organizations who are more into return and reintegration. They will not help you in getting out there per se, because that's really not their duty, but they would help you in coming back, because they're an organization that says, indeed, migration is right. You're supposed to migrate the right way. You can get information on the right pathways, but they will not be giving you guidance on how to get out of your country.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing that information. And so for whatever resource you need to know, even skills development, information you need to know for what country you need to travel to, how to prep yourself. I think the Migrant Resource Center is it's the Ministry of Labor, I believe.
Labor and under the
Labor
Ministry
and
of Labor and Employment, yes.
Yeah, okay. So they can provide you whatever information you need. Very important.
Yes, they can.
We believe in one of the webinars, we will be inviting them to come and throw more light on what they are doing, and so that we are more aware. Because one of the challenges we got to find out, even with this initiative of the Building Bridges webinar, is the information gap. Because there are a lot of things going on and people are not even aware of the different opportunities, different pathways, what information that is supposed to enable them transit from one country to another easily, and also with the right set of documentation, the right set of preparations. So I think, yes, we'll try and bring them on board so that they can throw more light on what they are doing, because this platform is built for disseminating verified information that will enable us
Yes.
make the right decisions. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Another thing I would like to add, based on what you've just said, is people need to learn to be more inquisitive. There's so many websites you can check and get all the information you need. I find there's the preponderance of people depending solely on agents. And I tell people, you really can get what you want without going through any agent. I have 2 children in school outside the country, as I'm sure a lot of people have, and I didn't have to go through an agent for any of them. Because you go into the school, for example, they're in school, you go through the school's website, they tell you what they need. They tell you the documents that they need. They tell you everything you need. So why go through an agent who is going to do that to get money from you? You understand me? When it's the same thing you can actually study by yourself, do by yourself, and get it done right. Because you find some of these agents are just quack agents. Everybody wakes up and says, I'm an agent. You understand me? However, what they're doing is what you can do yourself. If I want to be an agent today, I can be an agent because I have had 2 children go through the process. You understand? So basically, it's being able to read up by yourself. As you said, there's so many websites you can go to. You can go to the Migrant Resource Center, as you've said. You can go to the website of the IOM, UNHCR, even the Refugee Commission. You can go to all their websites, even as we here, TISU Consulting and Nissan Humanitarian Foundation. There's so much information people can get by themselves without being scammed and know the right way to travel when they have to travel.
Thank you very much, madam. But what I will add is that there are people who don't have the time, they are busy, they are hustling, they are working, and they really need help. Some people actually do need help. When those occur, please get in touch with reputable agencies and reputable organizations that can advise you and help you through the process. The Immigration Advice Service of the UK provides advice and supports people in migration to the UK and other European countries. And I think they've now extended to Canada. So yes, while we have some quack agents, we have reputable organizations working in this place who are supporting people in terms of migration information that prospective migrants can harness their resources to help them. In terms of the kind of information and what I will call knowledge available in some of these institutions, it will take you years to gather it because these people have been working in these areas. They've seen some of these things and they have information. They can actually guide you. So we need to leverage the help we can get from reputable agents and organizations while also doing our research. Now, Google is your friend. You can use Google, you can use AI to get all of the information you need so that you can travel well. And for us at TISU Consulting and Nissan Humanitarian Foundation, we say that you must travel the right way and you must travel at the right time. So ensure you have all your papers, ensure you have access to the right information, ensure that you are using the information to get yourself the right documentation so that when you do travel, you don't get into trouble, you don't suddenly become an illegal alien and you are hiding and you don't have access to get the kind of jobs that will give you access to the kind of life-changing opportunities that you envisage in going into migration in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You just spilled into the second theme, where we are looking at documentation and agent verification, which you just talked about, that they are reputable agencies that can help you through the process. And one of the biggest pitfalls for many hopeful migrants is falling prey to fake agents. And we have heard a lot of stories about this kind of things occurring. And there's something we usually say, what is too good to be true is actually too good to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just talk about that a bit. Our MP mentioned the IAS UK as one of the credible agencies. So are there other agencies that we can explore, whether it's from the national front or the international fronts?
There are many organizations we can contact apart from the IAS. We've had several. If you go through our webinars, we've brought in several reputable organizations and agents to talk to people about how to travel. TISU Consulting is also here. You can contact us. But much more than that, there are government agencies that are actually, this is actually their strength area. If you look at places like the Nigerian Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and I think
Internally displaced persons.
And internally displaced persons. If you get in touch with them, they will provide you with the right information. So if you go to the website of the country you want to go to, places like gov.uk and the one for the US and the one for Germany, and they have information on what you need to do and how you need to go about it. Just go to Google and type how to get a visa. Is it a visitor visa? Is it a tourist visa? Is it a permanent visa? Just type it and read up on it. So even if you are using an agent or an organization, you have some basic knowledge that guides you. So you are not just left to the whims and caprices of the agent. You have some basic information you can use to challenge some of the information that you will be getting from the agents and organizations you are working with. But there are several organizations that do this, and we can actually leverage their experience to help us. Even the IOM, they can help you with information on GIZ can help you with information on migration to Germany. So there are so many organizations and websites you can go to. What we can do is actually list some of these things on our web page, because we can't go through the list in a session like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So before we move over to the next section, while you are talking, a question came to my mind. I don't know if it was a deliberate act by a group of people or we just grew in that line, but how did we get to the point that we are so afraid of traveling or making these travel decisions on our own? How do we get to this point, and how can we work on our confidence, knowing that I can apply and I'll get it? Because we are made to feel that there's always something wrong. I remember there was a time I wanted to travel, and from the website, I saw the arrangements. Getting to the gate, some agent just came and made me, no, so they arrange more. Then, no, you have to, because of it was my first time going, I followed them to arrange it the way they say I should arrange it. And I paid. When I got into the place, they looked at my document, removed the pins, and arranged it the way I arranged it before. And I was now wondering what made me afraid in the first instance. So I don't know, can you really talk about that?
I think the first thing we need to, one thing is you need to be clear in your mind that I'm going for this thing. There are only two possibilities. It's either a yes or a no, and you prepare for either scenario. But why it has become such a big issue is because of the kind of charges that agents now charge people, because people are basically mortgaging their whole existence trying to get a visa. If you go to the embassy by yourself, something you will pay maybe 200, 150,000 for, somebody is charging you 5, 6, 8 million. And that is where the major problem is coming from, because people sell their houses, they sell their cars, they mortgage their lives. So there is they can't envisage a negative response, because that would, that means that they've been liquidated and they've gone bankrupt for life. So that is where the anxiety is mainly coming from, I believe.
And another thing to add to what Madam Sarah just said is people just not having confidence in themselves. Of recent, I was at the where you drop your visa request for the US, and just getting to the gate, you're seeing 120 people running after you and tell you, madam, and you have to be bold to just walk past them and say, listen, I know what I'm doing. And that day there was an elderly woman I met there who had actually paid someone 30,000 just to help her fill in a little form they had told us, because they had changed locations of where you could submit your passport and all that. And she had paid, or rather she was about to pay. She had concluded everything. And then the taxi driver, it was not a case of trying to get a POS to pay. And then the taxi driver who brought her saw me when I arrived and saw me just walk into the place, talked to the security man and walk out. And he came and said, madam, what did they do? I said, they said, go ahead and fill this by yourself. So I was going back to sit in my car to fill out the little form on my phone. And so the man said, okay, let this person hold on, and came and sat with me. I did mine and I did hers. And that was it. And these people who were at the gate were really very angry because they felt, you had taken food from their mouth that day. So I think one, again, is going back to let's have a bit of confidence in ourselves. Let's understand what is being asked for. And once you feel you've done it right, just as you had done, you did it right, and someone made you change it, and then you went back inside, and then your funds were rearranged the same way you had done it right. So it's just having a bit of confidence in what you're doing and knowing that you have done the right thing, and then hope for the best. That's what I would advise. Hello?
Hello, yes,
We can hear you now. You went off briefly.
yes, I apologize for that. The network kept fluctuating.
Okay.
So, yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I believe the more information we have keeps us in check, keeps us guided, and it's meant to improve our confidence. Everybody who is an agent learned, and then they were able to guide people.
Exactly.
And so we
Exactly.
also be able to learn the process so that even if we are going to engage with an agent, we know the right questions to ask. And if there's anything that doesn't seem too comfortable, you have the right information to project yourself in the right direction. So thank you so much. At this point, let me quickly make welcome Dr. Isikan Essien. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Angela Tanda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know you have a very busy schedule, and most of the questions that we were asked, we are just concluded the session on documentation and agents. And so the next one we are talking about is migrant safety, rights, and protection. So even with legal migration, risk exists. People travel the right way, they still face challenges in the host countries they go to, especially regarding abuse or exploitation. There are people who have gotten different scams as relates. And these questions came on board, and we knew that you'll be the right person to attend to this. So before I go further to ask the questions,
Good evening, Benjamin. Good evening, Dr.
Good
Isikan.
evening.
Thank you for joining.
Good evening.
Yes,
Good evening.
please, can you do us a favor and let's see your face?
Oh my God, I just removed my wig, but I'm going to let you see my face. I removed my wig, and so.
Oh, you are driving. Okay, so please,
Yeah.
you can
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm packed. So
Okay. Okay.
yes. So good evening to you all. And
Good evening.
so when we are talking about rights that migrants do have in their place of destination, so their right is not just limited to their place of destination, but limited. It's also through their transit all the way to their destination from the place of origin. We have what we call the GCM, Global Compact on Migration. And this is like a guiding principle that came up December 2018 that tells you of all the rights with 23 objectives of the Global Compact on Migration. And this is like a guiding principle that should be obtainable during your migration journey or migratory journey. But the problem we have with migrants is when they leave, you can live as a regular migrant, but end up as in irregular status with time. At that point of being regular, that you've gone into the foreign land, we have consular services everywhere. Nigeria is represented. The first thing is that you should register in that consular so that you'll be documented as a Nigerian there. In case anything happens, you have people that will stand up for you. Aside from that, for countries that have signed for the GCM, we have different rights. You have, first of all, you have right to liberty, right to life, right to security. You have right to not be discriminated upon. And these are all captured in all the objectives of the GCM. And we have the right to access basic facilities. All these rights, if you Google, you see the Global Compact of Migration, the 23 objectives. And you will know that as a migrant, you have rights. But you see, you must have a legal covering for your right to be exercised. And how do you have a legal covering in a foreign land? Is when you're able to establish a relationship with the government of your country in that land. So that's a way of, when you have issues, the government, the embassy, the consular service will stand in for you because you're identified. That's proper identification and proper documentation. But you know, some people, because as they are there on regular status, they already know that very soon they will be on irregular status if they don't do the right thing. So they're afraid to go and register. And so this affects their rights.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Apologies, I would have asked you earlier. I would like you to introduce yourself to us.
Okay, my name is Dr. Nsikanesian. I work with the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs. I've worked for so many years with the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, and before moving to the NCFRMI. So when it comes to the issue of migration and governance, I think I can hit my chest and say I have a little idea.
Thank you. We value that little idea so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So from what you just said, you mentioned that with time, someone who migrated legally can end up becoming and staying in any of their destination.
Yeah.
So one question I have here is, what should someone do if they experience abuse or are mistreated abroad? What should be their next steps?
Okay. Now, if you are of a regular status in your place of destination, all you need to do is to walk into your embassy. The doors are open, incident it, and the government will take charge from there. But if your status is that of irregular status, you don't have a case. If you are facing, but if you are trafficked, you will also identify yourself as a trafficked victim. And so, whether your status is regular or irregular, you'll be treated as a victim of trafficking. So you see the difference? If you were not trafficked, you went there on a regular status, but you did not comply with whatever was happening there, or the regularization of your papers, or your stay, you overstayed, and now you're of irregular status, you are an irregular migrant. And so you will not have that right. But if you were trafficked or deceived, and you are now abused, and you have an opportunity, the moment you enter into the consular, the offices, you will receive help because you will be treated as a victim of trafficking. But even if in your irregular status, you know there is room for you to come back to Nigeria, and NCFRMI will be ready to receive you. Nigeria will help you to take you from a place of vulnerability to a place where your rights you can be free, if you are of irregular status. But if you are of a regular status, there will be questions. Every country will answer because they have their people here in Nigeria too. And so they must, because of the GCM, they must try to treat our migrants right as we are treating their migrants rights too.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so you mentioned some touch points. So recently I heard, should we migrating if we go to the host country, are we to report and alert all these, especially the Nigerian facing agencies, to let them know we are there? Is it
Not
something that we
agencies.
must?
You are going to the embassy, Nigerian embassy. That is where you will incident your presence. You
Oh, okay.
identify. That's identification. You have identified as a Nigerian. You are documented. Anything that is happening to you, if they go to it will be that you are documented. But if you come in, you stay, you don't care, you don't mind, what can Nigeria do?
Mm. Okay.
Yes. So
Because
that's
I
how
was
it
of,
is.
I was of the opinion that you just travel, you enter the country, your country knows you are there, you don't.
No, you have to. What if you did not arrive from your point of departure? You must, you must show that you had arrived. And when you arrive, and if you are to stay, if you are on a work permit, if you're on a work permit, you tell them that you have a work permit to work here. And so you are working. If you are a student, you are here to school and you stay schooling. If you have a permanent residence, okay, now you can also still let Nigeria know that yes, you are a citizen of Nigeria, but you have a permanent residence to stay in so country. That's identifying with your people, identifying with the government of Nigeria in the foreign land, because it's only the government that will hold brief for you when
Oh,
issues arises.
wow. Thank
Yes.
you so much. Thank
You're welcome.
you. So still on this line, um, what steps can one take, looking at the brief from NAPTIP and now NCF RMI, what steps can one take, having fallen into the hand or becoming victim to trafficking or fake visa scam? What's
Um,
to
when it
retrace
comes
them
to
to that point?
when it comes to fake visa scam, you will be criminalized because ignorance a lot of times is no excuse to crime. But when you are a victim of trafficking,
Mhm.
all those are waived because from the beginning you may not have been the one that did your passport. From the
Yeah.
beginning you may not have been the one that did your visa. So definitely the Nigerian government in the foreign land will communicate with Nigerian government, the diaspora, the foreign affairs, and they will think of how to take you away from the position of vulnerability. Now, normally, if you're a victim of trafficking, you have the freedom to choose where you want to be, whether you want to come
Mm.
back or you want to, take into a different place out of abuse. Now, you must have enough evidence or reason why you want to stay, because this is a place that you are giving us, telling them that you have been abused. If you've been abused, because the first thing for an abuse victim is for you to take the person out of that position of vulnerability. Now, in taking
Yeah.
somebody from the position of vulnerability, a lot of time will include taking the person out of the environment. But sometime before you had left, they may have, because the act of issue of trafficking is clandestine in nature, and it's a ring thing. It has is a channel, is a link, is a channel, it's a chain. So they may have threatened your parent back home or your guardian back home, and you know that it's even more risky for you to come back home to meet them there, because even if they prosecute the trafficker that is with you there, he or she did not do it alone. There were people that did it here in Nigeria. The people that connected, the people that heard, the people that channeled, the people that helped, the people that assisted. So you might decide not to come back. depending on the reason you want to stay back. But on the whole, if you are abused, you report. The moment you get to the embassy, NAPTIP will be contacted. So together with the Foreign Affairs, the victim will be brought back to Nigeria most of the
Wow.
time, taken out of the position of abuse. Yes. So, but if you don't want to be vulnerable at all, it's good for you to follow due process in doing your things. You get a valid
Yeah.
visa, proper documentation, and if you cannot, if the country says don't stay more than 6 months on this visa, why will you stay more than 6 months? So you see, sometimes we are the ones that put ourselves in that position, and because we do that, it's very difficult for us to even own up that we are facing abuse.
That's true.
Yes. So when you see something, you say something, but you must see, and you must be ready to say before the
Yes.
help can come. Yeah.
I have a
Wow.
question. I have a
Okay.
question. I'm
Okay.
taking us back to when you talked about the Nigerian who travels registering their presence. And you said something about if you did not register your presence and then you have come into irregular status. If you're regular status, you can go there at any time and register your presence. But if you're irregular, and now, of course, they're looking for you, you are living from hiding to hiding, what then are the opportunities for this person? Aside just coming and saying, okay, I'm irregular, because you mentioned, oh, it's for you to register and say, yeah, get me on the next IOM available flight to go home. What other opportunities do people who are out of status and have not registered with the embassy but have now come to the embassy, what other options do they have?
Now, the option depends on the country of destination. How do the people want, or what do the people want of you? Do they think you should be regularized for you to stay? Or do they think you should come leave their country? Or is it like the United States of America that have criminalized overstay? And so if they have criminalized, they might send you to jail on that. And when they're even bringing you back, they're bringing you back like criminals. They're not even bringing you back like a regular returnee. They put chains on you because you overstayed, because it's been criminalized. So no matter what I say you could do to be of help to you, first of all, the sovereignty of every country enables them to do whatever they want to do in their country, especially when your status is that of irregular. So even the GCM is limited. A lot of countries have refused to sign it because it doesn't favor them. So the first thing is for you to first of all comply with what the country of destination wants. Holistically, what do they want? What does the country want?
So if I go to a Nigerian embassy and I'm out of status, do they just turn me back at the door?
They won't turn you back at the door. They will help them to deport you back. First is say with dignity. They will bring you back with dignity, and that is very important.
Thank you for that clarification. Just so people listening can hear that,
Yes.
they will bring you back with dignity rather than you being brought back in chains.
Yes.
So you run there and tell them, okay, I'm in Nigeria, I'm out of status. I just don't want them to put me in hands and chains, leg chains.
Yes, you will not be
Help
treated
me go
badly,
back
but you
with
know,
dignity.
yes, with dignity, with safety. So, which is very okay. And you come back, at least you walk into because at that time you're able to carry your things, right? Because if you are picked, you come with just nothing, and that's why we keep t-shirts and toiletries for them. But you will come back with your bags and everything you've made. So, don't you think it's better?
Yeah, it's so much better. At least they still have an opportunity to pick up their things and their whole life is not wasted.
Yes.
So we can take away that even when you are out of status, the embassy is still available to
It's
help
still better
you.
for years.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very
Wow.
important.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to. I've been working since morning. I've been in a meeting workshop since.
Ella, you give us your closing notes, and
Yeah.
then we'll call this session a day.
Okay. Who is going to give the closing notes?
No, you just give us a closing note on your
Okay,
discussions with us.
okay. So thank you so very much for having me here with you. It's very interesting that this migration issue is a trend, especially with the Jackpot syndrome here, and the fact that the economy is not smiling, and because of that, everybody thinks that the way out is to leave the country. Yes, it's okay to leave. We are all migrants in our own rights. We leave our state and we are in Abuja. We are all migrants, so it's a human right to migrate. But what do we say? We say it's okay to migrate, but try to make it right. Do
Yeah.
it right. Make sure you migrate the right way. Make sure that you are well documented. Make sure that you don't allow your status to change from that of regular to irregular status, even in your country of destination. And make sure you obey the laws of the land that you are in.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Dr. Nsikan. We really
Yeah.
appreciate your presence with us this morning, afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's almost 5 o'clock anyway.
Yes.
So we just want to say thank you. I think a lot of information you shared, and it
Yeah.
actually validates what we had said before you joined the session, that people need to come to the NCFRMI for information. Don't just jump into wanting to migrate. Get information from authentic and reliable agencies, organizations that will enable you do it the right way.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of information and there is a lot of help out there for us as citizens of Nigeria. And we don't want to lose all of that and suddenly find that we are illegal immigrants and we are running from pillar to post trying to dodge
Yes.
in another man's country. And when they catch you, you become a criminal.
Yes.
So it is key, and that is why truly we are having this conversation so that people know the help that's available to them, know what to do, and as much as possible have information to enable them make informed decisions. Because like they say, information is power.
Power.
Empowering people through our webinars to make the right decisions and to understand that this thing is not rocket science. It's not as difficult or as complicated as they think it is.
And
Migration is a right.
It's very
Do
important
it
also.
right.
It's very important for you to also sell the Migrant Resource Center, where information is very detailed to potential migrants. Because now you know that, like now, GIZ, they are doing all this job matching stuff. So it's very
Yes.
important that they key into it, because it's okay to migrate. Like we say, do it right. Do it
Yes.
well. Be safe.
Thank you.
Move with
Yes.
integrity.
Thank you very much, and do have a
Thank you.
lovely evening. And
Thank you
drive
so
safe,
much.
please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
you can drop off now. Thank you very much. Okay. So I think at this point we've really shared a lot of information. It's been a very interesting session. And for me, I just want to say thank you to everyone that joined us. This webcast is going to remain in our YouTube channel, and at any time you can send the link to your friends, to your colleagues, to your family members to actually join and listen to the conversation, because like we've just said, information is power, and all we're doing is sharing information that will enable you make the right decision at the right time and never go out of status. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angela. You held the first say really, really well. And Benjamin, who was a very, very a very, very good host and facilitator for this program
Thank you
this
very
evening.
much.
Thank you, everyone, and do have a
Thank you,
lovely
everyone.
evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen it.